Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another story time this week. For many of us, this is the last week of summer, and you're going back to school. If you haven't already, some of us have already started back at school. School this year might look a little different than it normally does, and maybe you're not going to school this year. Maybe you are doing distance learning from home, or maybe you're doing homeschooling with a parent at home. But our story today is going to be about a woman who really loved school. She even went to college in a time she lived over 100 years ago. So back then, mostly just men went to college, and she really wanted to go to college, so she did. And she brought something to our classrooms that had never really been a part of our classrooms before. So we're going to learn all about that today. But our story today is for all of our teachers out there, all of our parents who have suddenly found themselves teachers out there, and all of our kids headed back to school. And the story is a reminder that the best classroom in the world is outside in nature. Okay, so our story today is called Out of School and Into Nature, the Anna Comstock story. So we're going to learn who she was and what she did to revolutionize our schools. It was written by Suzanne Slade and illustrated by Jessica Lannon. Here we go. From the time she was no higher than a daisy, Anna was wild about nature. Speaking of nature, a bee likes the flowers in this book. She loved to hold it close in her fingers. She wanted to feel it squish between her toes, which was why she ran barefoot all summer long, raised slimy tadpoles into pet toads, and climbed tall trees instead of sitting in their shade. Sometimes Anna just sat, watching. And this is something she said. One of my joys was going barefoot from early spring until late autumn. Does anybody else really like to go barefoot? Science has actually proven it's good for our mental health to go barefoot and feel the soil between our toes. So she liked to just sit and watch, and that's how she was learning. Let's see what she was learning about. That's how she discovered nature's secrets. Leafy moths demonstrated the art of camouflage. Fuzzy bees showed her pollination, and marching ants explained all about teamwork. Through the years, Anna grew like a sunflower, and so did her love of nature. Her mother taught her the names of wildflowers dancing in the meadow. At night, she whispered the names of the constellations twinkling in the velvety black sky. Back then, girls were supposed to get married after high school. But Anna's heart belonged to her first love, nature. So she took off for college to learn more of its secrets. Anna studied plants and insects she'd never seen before. Such thousands of insects I've never seen before. Look at all those that she's studying. Butterflies, dragonflies, beetles. The more she learned, the more she wanted to share her discoveries. So she began to draw. Slowly, carefully. Her bugs looked so real, they almost crawled right off the paper. Amazed by her art, a professor started using her pictures during his lecture. Farmers studied her detailed sketches to identify hungry bugs stealing their crops. Yet Anna dreamed of creating even more realistic pictures, so she started carving fine lines into a block of wood. When she rolled ink over her engraving and pressed paper on top, magic! A beautiful print appeared. Each one was breathtaking. So kind of like a really early stamp. Anna was a fine artist, but she was also a scientist. Peering through her microscope, she studied delicate wings, legs, and antennae to create her art. In her day, most people thought men belonged in science, not women. Anna thought they were as nutty as an oak tree. So she kept on researching and drawing. She created illustrations for an insect book so others could learn about these tiny creatures. In time, she became a nature expert. Then one day, Anna made a surprising discovery. While visiting nearby schools, she realized they didn't have any nature classes. In fact, most New York schools weren't teaching about nature at all. It seemed other subjects were more important, like reading and writing and math. Anna knew this needed to change, and fast. So she decided to start by teaching the teachers. Anna grabbed her pen and wrote lessons about nature's marvelous mysteries. Caterpillars changing into graceful butterflies, water freezing into six-sided snowflakes, trees turning rain and sunlight into sweet sap. Her lessons captivated curious teachers. Soon, nature classes sprouted up in schools everywhere. But Anna believed children should experience nature, too. They needed to hold it close in their fingers, feel it squish between their toes. Then nature itself could teach children. So Anna asked teachers to take their classes outside. People thought she was crazy. Didn't she know school rules? Students learn inside. Students play outside. Determined, Anna didn't give up. She wanted children to become passionate about wildlife, to take care of the environment. Nature study cultivates in the child a love of the beautiful. Finally, several schools agreed. Notebooks in hand, students tromped through forests and fields. Fascinated by the wonders around them, they stopped and sat, watching. Spiders spinning sticky webs, brown bats snoozing upside down, tadpoles sprouting stubby legs, and the children became wild about nature. News of Anna's outdoor study spread faster than dandelion seeds on a windy day. Soon, classes across New York, across the country, headed outside. Because Anna changed the rules, children realized how all living things are connected, unique, and important. And they wanted to learn more. So Anna decided to create books about nature. Year after year, she wrote and she drew. But she always made time for her first love, nature. Anna held it close in her fingers, felt it squish between her toes, until her very last days. The end. And it tells us more about Anna here, but I won't read all that. So, this book is a great, great, great reminder that one of the best ways for students to learn is outside in nature. There are ways to tie that to all sorts of different lessons. And if any of the teachers or parents need ideas, please, please, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us on how you can learn in nature. I hope that during the school year you get a chance to get out in nature. Outside is still kind of a safe space where we can take our masks off for a bit and breathe that fresh air. Plus, it has tons of emotional and physical and mental health benefits to spend time outdoors. So the more we can get kids outside, spending time in nature this school year, the better off they're going to be. I am very excited, but not quite ready to tell you about our fall program lineup. We have been working on some ways to help get your kids back outside in nature. And we're going to do that hopefully in ways that empower your whole family to go out and learn about nature. So stay tuned next week for some big announcements and for another story time on Wednesday. I will post some resources to go with this story time about things you could do outside and maybe some places to find nature lessons if you're interested as a parent or as a teacher. And I hope you have a great week. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.